Hello, guys. It's Evgeny here at No Code Genius, and I have actually not done this in a while, but now I'm back stronger than ever with more interesting content. And this time, as always, I'm bringing you another gem. And this one is actually quite interesting because I participated in Webflow Conference's Speed Build Challenge. This conference took place in Serbia, and it was hosted by Flow Ninja, which is an amazing agency in Niš in Serbia. So let me take you through the build. This is actually the website. Let me just present it first, and then I'll show you what I actually did there. As you can see from the start, there are some pretty cool loading animations. We've got the opacity animation of the image, and we've got the scrolling to view of all the other assets. We've got the pretty cool clipped button within hover effect. We've got selection feature, which is pretty cool. We have the custom CSS hover effect as well of the lightbox. The lightbox is custom. It opens from the bottom and closes going to the top. The navigation was pre-built because this speed build is actually something that you do within an hour, and there were 5 sections in here. So 5 sections plus navigation would be quite rich in 1 hour, but this is actually what I did within an hour. I developed the whole site besides the navigation. The navigation was given to us pre-built. So we have the selection, we've got the custom button made with CSS interactions. We've got the lightbox, which is custom made lightbox. We've got the parallax effect added through Ukiyo.JS, which is a library created for parallax effects. We also have Swiper.JS, which is a library created for sliders. It's a pretty cool slider, quite simple to make. Another thing we have is a count up animation. I'm not sure if you've seen. This is done through Jquery and Jquery count up libraries. And yeah, this is pretty simple build, so let me take you through it. This is probably one of my favorite ones because I built it within a very short period of time. So, and yeah, it's also fully responsive as well. It's fully responsive, and yeah, let's get into it. So all the animations have their own classes. So you'll be able to see that if you add a scroll in, there are 5 animations. Scrolling 1 has 0.1 second delay, scrolling 2.2, and so on and so forth. This way we have the effect of all these different assets scrolling in at their own pace, which is exactly what happens. So let's go through the hero section and the code. So Ukiyo.js. We added the script, the CDN, and we added the script. Parallax desktop with parallax image, and it's taking video thumb as the base or as the wrapper of this image. So with thumb and parallax image. That's how it works. Yeah. Next is going to be the lightbox. We've got an interaction here set in link sec with lightbox open. It's a pretty simple one. And lightbox close. You'll be able to take a look at this interaction. It's nothing too complex. Next is actually the hover effects and the selection and the actual button as well. So you'll see the styles. There's overscroll behavior none. This actually says that if you scroll all the way to the bottom or to the top very fast, you will not see that ugly overscroll that comes by default. And the selection is actually giving you the background color and the foreground color. So the color of the text and the background color. and it is also having a fix for Firefox. Button hover, it it targets the icon 40 within the button and moves it 4 pixels when you hover on top of this button. Now, the way that you do this button is a bit weird, but it's actually pretty cool. It's not that weird. The issue with this button is that you need to clip the top off and you have a 2 pixel border. But what happens is when you clip the button through clip path, it's actually taking the border as well and it's removing that border. As you can see, this is quite weird. So the way you make a fix for it is you actually need to create an extra div block and position it up here. Obviously, just a div block would not work because the content is clipped here. So you need to add a pseudo class to the button, the before pseudo class. And it's literally no content within. You set the width and height. You make the background transparent because there is a background image. If it was a fill, you would, as a background, like white color, you just add like the color white. You add the border, you rotate the div, you position it absolute, and yeah, you actually position it like so. You make sure that some of the borders do not exist and you add a z index too, and this way it's positioned like so. And yeah, that's actually how you make a button. It's not the simplest thing, just because you need to know how to use clip path, you need to know the percentages, but it's pretty easy to figure out if you play around with it. But before pseudo class is not something that I use too often, so I actually forgot about this within the speed build, and I had help from the Flow Ninja's Webflow expert. Right. As we move forward, these numerals are actually counting up this numeral, and these numerals. The way I did this is I added these CDNs and I added this script, this Jquery script, which is literally telling you look for a counter, count up uh, after a delay of 20 milliseconds, and you've got this time, so 1500 milliseconds to of delay or of time of execution of this animation. Next up, we've got Swiper. Now I've covered Swiper quite a bit, but here are the arrows. I gave them hover effects. We've got the Swiper pagination, and within Swiper pagination, you've got automatically generated Swiper bullet points. This is all generated through, the content is generating through CMS. Another cool thing is, so yeah, it's not cool. I've already showed you, but you just need to know how to do it. You've got the Swiper here, and then you have to initialize the Swiper slice preview 1, space between 10. You loop the slider, you add pagination, you add the navigation, and voila, we're done. And also the pagination is clickable. So those bullets, they're clickable. Next up, we've got the grid, and we have 3x3 grid, and we just had to make sure that these items are positioned correctly. So not one row, but 2 rows. Some of them, these take up 2 columns. So this one takes up 2 columns and these 2 take up 2 columns. So yeah, that's pretty simple. Yeah, besides that, I guess that's pretty much it. I'm turning this into a clonable for educational purposes. This speed build was pretty cool experience. I developed the whole thing within an hour. It was kind of tough. I was a bit arrogant thinking that I can get away with using utility classes in order to complete this. Obviously, because of that, I did not win the competition, but it was a great learning curve, especially in terms of ego is the enemy. All right, I hope you like this one. Let me know what you think, and you'll be able to clone this soon.